Welcome to Spicer and Company. I'm Tom Basili in for Sean Spicer.
And I'm Lindsay Keith. Well, some heartbreaking news as we mourn the death of Louisiana Congressman-elect Luke Letlow. He died of a heart attack following a procedure related to COVID-19, according to his hospital. You know, he was set to be sworn in as a new member of the 117th Congress on Sunday. Tom, he was just 41 years old, and he leaves behind a wife and two young children. So sad and so unfortunate.
Yeah, I woke up this morning to that news and you just couldn't believe it. This guy was such a promising young public servant, and certainly our thoughts and our prayers go out to him and his young family and all of his constituents.
Yes. Some big news, though, coming out of Capitol Hill today. There is officially a senator who is willing to challenge the electoral vote January 6th on the floor. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley says he will object to certifying Joe Biden as the winner of the presidential election next week.
That's right, Lindsay. In a statement, the senator said, "I cannot vote to certify the Electoral College results on January 6th without raising the fact that some states, particularly Pennsylvania, failed to follow their own state election laws. And I cannot vote to certify without pointing out the unprecedented efforts of mega corporations, including Facebook and Twitter, to interfere in this election in support of Joe Biden." Hawley is the first senator to back an effort by several Republican congressmen on January 6th. New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew is one of those Republicans in the House, and he joins us now. Congressman, before we get to that and what's happening with respect to January 6th, Lindsay and I were just talking about the loss of Congressman-elect Luke Letlow. Just wanted to get your thoughts and your reaction.
It's so sad. I mean, you just don't know what to expect in life. I think I often think of this, you have to try to enjoy and live every day and love every day, because you just don't know what's going to happen to you. Who would have ever thought such a young man with so much promise and such a good political future that this would happen? I don't know all the details, but I do know I'm sad for him. I'm sad for his family. You just never want that to happen.
Thank you for that. Congressman, it's been 2 months since the election. A lot of evidence has been put forth showing irregularities and fraud in a number of states. 46% of Americans and the vast majority of Republicans feel like there was election fraud. What are you going to do on January 6th? And if you are going to object, is there a specific state at this point that you have in mind?
Well, there'll probably be a number of states. Pennsylvania certainly is one of them. Georgia could be another one. Missouri. There were a number of states where there were real issues. And that even goes back to the Texas amicus brief where they went before the Supreme Court. Understand that in a state, according to the Constitution, according to the rule of law, when you change in a major way your voting system, you're supposed to have a meeting of the state House of Representatives and of the state Senate. And many of these states did not. They didn't even obey the law there. We're in a new thing in the country lately, it seems to me, where the rule of law almost doesn't matter anymore. And people, not people, but many politicians and corporations and other groups said, don't worry about it, just go forward. I don't agree with that. Yeah. The rule of law keeps us whole. So that certainly is one of the important reasons. This is the other important reason. You know how many problems there were with the elections, even in states like New Jersey? We had multiple ballots that were sent out to people. We had some people that didn't get any ballots. We had people who passed away who got ballots. We had people who lived in other states that got ballots. What is that? We never used to do that. And when people worry about that, and Americans are worried, let me tell you, the majority of Americans are very concerned, I think for the first time in history, that our elections are not what they should be. And that isn't a good thing. And I think it's so demeaning to Americans, to our people, to diminish them and say, don't worry about it, just let it slide. It's not a big deal. It's not. Every vote that should be counted obviously needs to be counted. Every vote that shouldn't be counted, on the other hand, shouldn't be. So there's a lot there. We need to know more, and we need to improve the system.
Yeah, the system definitely does need to be improved for sure. We've talked to a few other members of Congress who are planning to challenge the vote with you as well. Is there a strategy amongst Republicans? Are you guys all dividing and conquering states? How are you approaching this?
Well, I think you're approaching it that we all have a different focus, but it's all to the same good in that there are really problems here. And my focus has been that, even more than who wins or loses the election, we have to discuss this election. We have to examine this. We have to make sure that the American people are given the honor they are due and that the system runs the right way. So for me, almost one of the most important parts, besides who won and who lost, which of course is very important, but also what are we doing with our system of government and our system of elections? We are literally going back to being like a third world country. We never had this before. You and I were just saying we need to improve this. Yeah, we need to improve it to go where we were when, elections we knew were legal. And some states did have legal elections. Sending out ballots, paper ballots that aren't requested to multiple people for no reason at all is wrong. And that is part of the problem that we have and something that needs to be addressed among many other things. The fact that legislatures didn't meet in various states over this. So that's the focus I want to really have. What is going on in our country? We never want to have an election like this one again.
Congressman, just moving on, you were one of 44 GOP members of Congress who voted to increase the stimulus checks to $2,000.
Yes.
Why did you vote for the increase?
Well, I think it was a really good contrast. So what they did there is they put the omnibus bill all together. And you saw some of the things that our spending bill was spending on all around the world. And yet somehow we can spend millions and billions of dollars all around the world for everybody else, but we're not taking care of our own Americans who are going through a tough time. I believe in America first. I always have. America being strong, America first is very, very important. So to me, I voted for it so that people would have a chance to survive here because, it isn't only people that went out of business, which is a real big thing. In New Jersey, about a third of our businesses are out, but it also matters because people are working less hours. They're getting paid less. Say you're a waitress. You're not making the money that you were before. Most of the restaurants are either closed or partially closed. They need that extra help. So for God's sake, let's not spend millions upon millions of dollars all over the world and not take care of our own people. Why do we argue about taking care of our own people, but we're not arguing about the money that was spent all over the place?
Congressman, I'm out of time, but I got to ask you real quick. Is this going to get approved in the Senate? What are you hearing from your colleagues?
It's iffy, but I'll tell you what, if I was a state senator or a U.S. senator, rather, I absolutely would be voting for this. And if they're smart, they will. It should be approved.
All right. Congressman, thanks for being with us tonight. Happy New Year. Enjoy your last day of 2020 here.
The last day of 2020 is a good thing. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful New Year's Eve.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV because we're real news for real people.